Portsmouth has stormed to success at the UK's Transplant Games. Now, it's a bit like the Paralympics, but athletes must have received an organ donation in order to compete. Team Portsmouth walked away with 6 gold, 3 silver and 4 bronze medals. And Jessica Wilkins went along to meet the team behind the medal hall.
Team Portsmouth have taken the Transplant Games by storm. Made up of athletes who have received a major organ donation, they picked up 13 medals at the Games in Gateshead.
We had 8 taking part this year, and between us, I forget the final figure, it's about 13 or 14 medals between us, with gold, silvers and my lowly bronze here. But we had a full set between us and we've done very well. I will add, the team that was at the Games this year, 6 of the 8 have all actually been in the World Games teams at various points in the past. So I think Portsmouth, which is where it all started, is quite successful even though small in number.
Andrew received a life-saving kidney transplant back in 1986 at St Mary's Hospital. Now 54, he has been competing in the Games for the last 3 decades.
I heard of the Games because I remembered seeing it on television for the very first Games, and they showed a clip of people dialysing, and I thought, hate to be like that. In a few years, I'm afraid I was like that. But then the team manager at the time had been a ward sister at the renal unit here in Portsmouth, and basically I was told, be here, bring some kit, you're going.
Athletes can compete in different events in a bid for sporting glory. Visually impaired sprinter Richard Toos won silver in the 800 metres despite battling pneumonia shortly before the Games.
Prior to the Games, I was in and out of hospital with an upper tract infection in my lungs, respiratory tract in my lungs. I was in that hospital. I was told by the doctors, you'll never make the British Transplant Games this year, you're far too ill. All my training had gone to pot, but I have my own saying, which is never count a blind man out. I went to the Games this year and came away with a silver.
Despite normally running shorter distances, Richard put his body to the test by joining the 800 metre race.
It's a new event to me this year, because standardly I'm a 1, 2 and 400 metre sprinter, but this year I wanted to put some endurance in so I can get my sprinting times down lower, so we changed our way of training this year, doing park runs, 5Ks, running on the seafront, running on the beach, running up and down hills, round and around the track in circles, just continuously.
Team Portsmouth also did well in table tennis.
So it's all in age categories. So I was up against, I think there was 16 in my age category, in a group format to start with, and then knockout after that. It's the only sport I'm really good at, and I play table tennis quite regularly, part of a local league, and play for a local club, so it's kind of my sport.
Keith survived kidney disease thanks to a donation from his mother 25 years ago.
Your kidneys do all sorts of things, like filter the blood and produce urine, and they control all sorts of things in your body. And you're normally in lots of trouble if it goes wrong, and you end up on dialysis, which you have to have like 3 or 4 times a week. So it's and you'd be extremely ill. So it's quite a big deal.
Despite Team Portsmouth's success, people are still dying because of a lack of viable donors. 19 people across Hampshire passed away last year before getting the organ they needed. According to the Organ Donation and Transplantation Activity Report, 4 out of 10 families refused to donate a relative's organs. Andrew recently celebrated the 30th anniversary of his kidney transplant.
A number of people I know who don't realise I've had a transplant. To me, that's the best thing going, because I have to tell them, or someone else tells them, rather than when I had my transplant, you'd often tell a transplant person by the drugstore on, they made them all puffy-faced and other issues, but the medication is so good these days that in the majority of cases you wouldn't be any the wiser.
I think as I get older, I appreciate it more, and each year that goes past, I get more and more grateful, basically.
A kidney and a pancreas transplant, I had that now 10 years ago this year. It came from the same donor. I never really mourned for my donor. I just classed him as my best friend that I never met. So I've always celebrated him and made sure I keep his life moving forward in myself.
Jessica Wilkins. For that, Solent.